career choices for people who don't necessarily want to be accountants or lawyers or doctors. A couple different alternatives, people who follow their heart rather than do what their parents told them to do or what they're supposed to do.
Well, actually, I just talked to a bunch of people about drug addiction because there's been all these like media coverage about how about 10% of adolescents are might become drug addicts, and so we just took to the streets to find out what other people thought about it.
I did a story on a young entrepreneur, a 24-year-old, Benoit La Liberté. He's making a lot of money, owning a lot of computer stores. Looks a little tired and stressed out.
And we also did a story on vampires.
Yeah, vampires. They're popular. Vampires are really popular now, and we went out to try to figure out, is it the sex? Is it something else? We talked to a whole bunch of people. Why are vampires so popular?
I went to the Musique studios and interviewed Abe, who is the newest VJ at Musique. She's 17 years old, and she happens to be Mitsu's younger sister. It was special. It was nice.
There's something about the dark. We love the dark. We love what's mysterious. We love anything that we don't see sharply and clearly, that we have to make an effort to find. And the vampire certainly is that.
Vampires have always been incredibly popular in movies, books, and now in role-playing games. We're here at a club on St. Denis to talk to some of the players and to see where they draw the line between fantasy and reality. Can you tell us a bit about the game, what it's about?
The game is about to pretend to be a vampire, live like a vampire for the game.
So you have players interacting as vampires?
That's right.
Do you think a lot of the people that play believe that there really are vampires?
Some people may believe, but that's not the point of the games. The games is about pretend to be a vampire.
Do you believe in vampires? Do you think they exist in real life?
No, really no. Vampires are mythic creatures, and with playing vampire, you create your own world. You create your own personality, and you're something else, you're someone else.
Hi, how are you? Fine. My real name in the game is Chandler. I have to use another name for the inside the game. I have to use another name by internet, and I come from Mexico. I just speak French, Spanish, and Maya.
I love role-playing, the action of getting myself into a character, some kind of theater, but you choose a line, so you can, push the limits of your own personality.
Do you find people ever get sort of lost between reality and the fantasy of the game? Like they sort of don't know where to draw the line?
When we play vampires, we play with a symbol. When you are in character, you have this symbol, okay? When you're out of character, you just put it in your shirt. So there's a line, and this is the borderline.
I always love vampires. And with the books, the trilogy of Anne Rice, it's another perspective of vampires. They're not monsters anymore, but they're
more human-like.
Yeah, and that's what I love. She couldn't hear him, but had an image of a shadow, a mist, blending with the darkness. Yet at the same time he was solid, as stealthy as a jungle cat hunting prey, and could probably pick up her scent. He's playing with me, she thought, and the idea scared her. The very first book I took out of the library as a kid, I remember our class went to the library, and I went right to the horror section, just intuitively, and I found a book called The Little Witch. And I used to love watching horror movies. Loved being scared as a kid. Loved it.
Well, there's a store on Montreal called Cruella you should probably go to. Vampires are oriented between Saint-Denis and Saint-Laurent.
Vampires are so dark, and they're sexy, and they're into power, and it's just a real archetypal energy that goes across time and across space. All cultures have had a vampire image since 2500 BC. The most printed book in the world is the Bible. The second most printed book is Dracula. There you go.
A foul-bold man's vanity. Perhaps you should grow a beard.
Horror is a metaphor foreseeing what's really happening. Somebody smiling and saying, you know, how are you? And the other person goes, fine. They're not fine. Obviously, they're not fine. And so horror does that. You know, you can see what's behind the surface. I have never met a blood-drinking, resuscitated corpse. Who's to say? I don't know. I just haven't run into it. But, you know, it may be out there, but you'd think with my interest I might have run into one by now, but I haven't.
Recently, the headlines have been blaring that 10% of teenagers might become drug addicts. Now, first of all, is that even true? Secondly, what about the other 90% of us? And thirdly, what exactly is an addict anyways? So we took to the streets to find out.
I think much of it is demagoguery, and I don't really perceive there's any increase in drug addiction amongst teens. I think it's maybe just to do with mass media and political usage. That's the reason why that perception is there.
I'm not really in that sort of a scene, but I'd have to say that it would happen. I know some friends that are into that area. 10% of teenagers? I think it's probably even higher than that.
Drugs are definitely getting much more widespread among North American society and also European society. And it's not just, you know, things like pot and mushrooms anymore. It's a lot more heavier kind of drugs. When I look at my old high school and my elementary school, the percentage of people that are starting to do drugs at a younger age has totally increased.
I think maybe now the media is noticing more about drugs, but I think it's always been the same because it's just more publicized now.
Well, I just look around me and I see half the world stoned, so I guess it's true.
Most teenagers will use drugs for recreational uses. As far as addicts, I would say less than 10% would become addicts. I suppose it depends on your definition of addict. What to you defines an addict?
It's anything that's regular. I mean, once in a while, once a month or whatever, that's probably the borderline. Anything more than that, then you're getting into regular.
If you need it to survive, yeah, it's an addiction.
Someone who does drugs on a daily basis. If you're dependent on the drug and you need it to get by, then it's an addiction.
I think every day, you know, all the time seems pretty addictive. Recreational? Well, you know, whatever floats your boat. Moderation, I guess everything is okay. Personally, I think body's temple, wouldn't touch the stuff.
I don't really want to follow the same steps as the older generations have done. I think it's time for a change and a different way of thinking.
I would say follow your heart. It's the best way to make you happy.
There are a lot of young people out there today wondering whether or not they're going to find a job doing anything, let alone something they love. We spoke to some young people who are following their passions to get some advice on finding your own way. So when did you start in the business?
11 years ago.
Is this what you always wanted to do?
Yeah, it is. It is. I went to university 1 year. I thought that's what I wanted, but I decided no. I wanted to do hair stuff. I started hair school, and I loved it. Yeah. Business is also a lot of fun, the business aspects of it. It's fun, too. I like that. I like doing hair more than the business, but in small amounts, the business side of it is fun.
A unique blend.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
How do you feel about the risk factor of doing something you love to do as opposed to following conventional methods of schooling?
Well, you know, I believe as long as you're really willing to work hard and you're willing to put a lot of time, a lot of effort into it, and also not only for yourself, but you have to always consider other people. Robert and I have been doing a lot of teaching and sharing what we've learned, and we also do a lot of training, so we take what we learn and teach it to other people. Even go back razoring. It's like back combing, but it's with a razor, and that's going to really just make it like it's going to be on auto style for the next 6 weeks.
I studied office systems, and it was a catastrophe. People kept asking me if I was an art student. I was miserable doing it, and then somebody one day out of the booth said, why don't you think of doing hairdressing? And it never dawned on me, but I'd always had an interest somehow in it. I've worked in a lot of places before this. I spent 2 years in McDonald's, and that's probably one of the reasons why I want to do this. to avoid having to ever go back to that.
Do you have any advice for people, young people who want to do something they like as opposed to doing something just to make money or something conventional?
You always do things better if you like doing them. So, I mean, it's just altogether you feel better about what you do. It makes it easier to get up and go to work when you enjoy what you do.
Depending on what you're looking at, then you may decide to follow your art. But you have to look both ways, art and head also. The more you get educated, the more you can be optimistic. Because we all know someone who's educated and doesn't have a job. But this is an exception most of the time.
There are a lot of lawyers who are out of work, and I have a friend who did architecture and he's unemployed. I design web pages and I do graphics. And I also do operational support, which is updating other people's web pages. And I just sort of found ways to kind of make technology sort of work in my life without losing the creative stuff I like to do so much, rather than doing something that you have no interest in or no passion for. I think it's important to do the things that you love. And, you know, eventually you'll find a way of making it, you know, make money for you too.
Do you ever get worried about finding work?
Everybody needs a hairdresser at some point in their life, so.
You've got nothing really to lose. That's what I've always believed. As long, you know, try anything. As long as you're not losing anything in the trying.
C'est même, je crois, terminé. J'ai parlé à Mme Nelson hier.
I have started at the age of 14 years old. I was at home, and I had an opportunity at this time to resell software.
No, but did you have any training?
Myself?
Yeah.
Not at all. No. I mean, I started, how can I say, I had my first computer at the age of 10 years old, and when you're young, everything is natural at this time.
Yeah,
So, no, so I learned by myself. We have a division that's doing computer manufacturing. We have today a division that's doing computer service. Another division that is taking care of sales.
You must have people under you that might be twice your age. I mean, what's it like working with them? Is there an authority problem ever? Or?
Not at all. I mean, it's a question of respect. I mean, we're not there to have fun. It's serious, and the relations are good. And probably 75% of the employees over here are 30, 35, and more.
Yes, I did. I got it in my POA.
Even if he's young, he teach me a lot of things which I didn't know. And the new technology, which he knows more than me, he teach me a lot. So it doesn't matter at all to me.
Today, we'll be meeting some of Canada's brightest young business leaders, men and women who are only...
Tell me a bit about how you got involved in the Young Entrepreneur Award.
They applied my company, myself, to, to be representative for Quebec area for Young Entrepreneur Award.
T'as-tu reçu les chèques dont on parlait tantôt? Oui, d'accord.
The Young Entrepreneurship Award is meant to honor, to congratulate, and to salute young entrepreneurs for their efforts. This year they were in Vancouver. The winner was Benoit Laliberté.
By 1992, he had founded Corporation Juliet.
Were you happy to win?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I didn't realize at this time that everything that is involving to receive this kind of award.
I think he deserves this recognition. I think he's got, don't forget, at 24 years old, he's got over 40 people working for him. He's got 5 or 6 branches, manufactures his own computer line. You got to admit, it's quite a success.
How many hours did you put in?
Do you really want to know?
Yeah.
At the beginning, probably more than 125 hours per week.
More than what?
125. Okay, this is where we are manufacturing our computer.
If you had advice to give to someone young who wanted to get involved in business, and I mean, what would it be?
I think the best way is to stay in school and learn a lot of things. But if you have if you're really strong and you're ready to do it, though, you can try to start in business younger.
Do you think this company has a big future?
Oh, sure. Actually, since February that I've been here, the production has gone twice, 3 times since I've been here.
My father used to know what you need to success. And
so what is it? What's the...
Work really hard, ambition, never be in second place, always go for the first place, and please never discourage.
You ever wonder what it'd be like to work on Musique Plus, or who picks the videos, or what it's like to be a VJ? We caught up to the newest member of the Musique Plus family. She happens to be Mitsu's younger sister, and she gave us a feel for the business.
Bonsoir tout le monde, bienvenue au combat des clips. Ce soir, au combat, c'est au tour à Moïse d'affronter les Backstreet Boys.
So how'd you first get hooked up with Musique Plus as a VJ?
My mom sent the CV here.
Je vous donne le numéro de téléphone.
We like to work with people that have a passion for music, have a passion for communication, and have a passion for culture in general. So I came here to pass the screen test. They basically have to do what a VJ regularly does. That means ad-lib. That means talk to the camera. That means talk about music and look in that lens over there and not be afraid. And they didn't call me for 3 months. So me and my mom decided to move to New York because I wanted to take class of theater. What we're looking for is something that will speak to us when we look at the television, you know. So that's something that's very, very hard to describe. And they told me that I got it. So till that time I back and forth to New York because I study in the week there. You have to be yourself when you're in front of the camera. That's Musique Plus. That's what we're looking for.
50 cents chaque appel. On poursuit immédiatement avec notre aspirant de la soirée, Moïse.
What struck us about Abe is that how young and fresh she was.
Oh, geez. They're going to be on show. I'm going to be there.
We found her very, very relaxed in front of the camera, and that's something exceptional.
What's it like having a famous sister?
Well, I don't really think about that, you know. She's my sister, she's my friend, I love her.
What about when you go out? You get recognized a lot, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, sometimes it's not fun, but it's a part of it, of the work. And I've been used to it with my sister.
You ever get to meet any rock stars or...
Not yet. Not yet. I wish.
And what about the videos that are on? Do you have any say which videos go on?
No. There's a group that is their work.
We have a special committee, and they view each and every one of the videos, and they grade them. And basically, they decide, okay, there's about 7 to 10 videos that will get to play during the week at Musique Plus, what we call our playlist. A lot of new artists come out, and it's just like what we say in French, un coup de cœur, you know, like something grabs you and hits you, and you say, oh boy, that's great. So we have a special rotation for that, and that's called the M Plus rotation. You see the buzz cut and the M Plus that plays 6 times a day. We don't have a sound, we have an image, and we like to have a very diversified image, so we play a little bit of everything.
MC Solar. I love this guy. That's his video clip, I think.
That's the concept of Musique Plus. You know, we have bay windows here. We're a street television. We're a live television. You know, MTV is not live.
Is this something that you take as a serious job or more for fun?
Oh, it's a serious job, but it's a fun job. I love it.
I can see her going very, very far at Musique Plus because she's, what, 17, 16? She has a long time here, you know, she can grow.
I look like a fly, you see.
My way to Montreal. Or stay yet, don't need us not be gone.
The love I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain.
Oh, Romeo. Romeo, baby, where you at?
Well, sugar, I'm right over here, smooth as ever.
The man has arrived. So what'd you think?
I think it's safe to say that this is the best version of Romeo and Juliet that I've come across.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've seen so many. They've done this story many, many a time, but this is definitely a very different take. I thought the way the violence was used, it was pretty legitimate. I mean, sure, there were guns instead of swords, and they definitely, they tapped in to our desire to see gore and guns, but it wasn't too excessive.
It wasn't too excessive. I mean, there was a lot more drawing of the pistols than the actual firing, and there's only one graphic, well, not even so graphic, only decently graphic fist fight. I mean, aside from that, it wasn't as violent as the previews made it out to be. I thought it would be a lot more high voltage in terms of violence, but it really wasn't.
Were you disappointed, Josh?
I was. I like, you know, paying $8.50 and seeing real violence. I had a hard time with Leonardo DiCaprio because I generally don't like seeing him on screen, but that doesn't take anything away from his acting. He's definitely a very good actor, at least.
What, he's not pretty enough for you?
No, the thing is, I find him far too pretty for a guy. That's the problem. I think he's absolutely stunning. I gained a newfound appreciation for Claire Danes. She's a sweet thing. I didn't know that she was. And John Leguizamo was good, definitely good. I like him. He's a character actor, and Paul Sorvino just lived up to being Paul Sorvino.
So, my call is, you know, if you're generally a person who's got a bit of an aversion to Shakespeare, you're not usually that into it, see the movie. It definitely makes good old Billy very accessible to anyone.
It's definitely an original take on the story. The acting's great, pretty entertaining, so say why not, do it.
Okay, I really hope you guys enjoyed the show, and until next time, namaste, baka, ciao, au revoir, and later.